So I'm joined here by Ben, who is, and I don't really want to ruin your surname, Ben. So I'll let you do that.
Just call me Ben.
To talk about prospective signing of Dominik Szoboszlai. Did I pronounce that right?
Szoboszlai, but
Good. Szoboszlai, even good at that. To Liverpool from RB Leipzig. Now, Ben is from Hungarian descent. He's, I think, all-round expert on football. Writes for Liverpool.com as well. Talk to us about the first time you heard about Szoboszlai and how he basically developed through in Hungary and then became a prominent young name in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, for Hungarians, it would have been 6 years ago now. Like that's how long. He was 16 years old, and he started off. That's when you have like the first big major tournament that you can qualify for the under-17 Euros. So Hungary got to the elite round, which is basically 4 teams at like a group stages. I think the top 2 or the first one goes through, and so Hungary hadn't qualified for that under-17 Euros since Cristiano back in 2006 or something. So this was 2017, if I remember. Yeah, 2017, and he scored 2 identical free kicks against Russia from a long distance. I mean, that was pretty special, and that got people talking. But that happens sometimes at academy level. Especially as the captain of the team, people knew he was at Salzburg already, so people knew he was a special talent. But Salzburg didn't necessarily have as much of a reputation as they do now. I mean, Haaland hadn't been there. They had the likes of Mane and some other players, but it wasn't like beyond that. They weren't that much. They didn't have that status yet. So yeah, he does that, scores 2 identical free kick goals against Russia. Then in the next game against Erling Haaland's Norway, it's a draw. Hungary need a goal to win. It's the last minute. Szoboszlai gets a ball outside the box, first time, hits it over the keeper, top corner, and qualifies Hungary to the under-17 Euros, which was pretty special. And that's how he announced himself with a sort of last-minute goal. And since then, I think pretty quickly he was involved in the Hungarian first team squad. Very quickly, he started playing for Liverpool in Salzburg, and then Salzburg's first team as well. And then, he moved really quickly up the ladder. I think one of the most crucial points in his career was probably 3 years ago when Salzburg lost Haaland in that really special season, and then COVID happened, and during COVID, he kind of really started working on himself, like took it as an opportunity to work on his weaknesses and his strengths, and he even hired this very famous like physical trainer called Shane Tussuk, who works with, I think he's Australian, but he's lived in Hungary for a while now. He's worked with a lot of very famous Olympic athletes, swimmers, and etc. Record breakers in Hungary and at Olympic level as well. He's worked with really high level athletes, and he started working obviously remotely during COVID with Dominik, and then he came back and was in incredible form during that coronavirus season, and obviously that saw him then he moved to Leipzig, and then the rest is history. I mean, he's done really well at Leipzig as well.
Yeah, so for those who've never watched a full 90 minutes or even a full 5 minutes of Dominik Szoboszlai, even a highlights reel, what is he like? What would you describe him as a footballer?
Just a typical Jurgen Klopp player, and I've been saying this for years.
I can recall, Ben. I can recall. Yeah. Back in our days on the transfer room, you did mention his name several times.
Yeah, exactly. He just seems tailor-made. Seems like, I mean, he's from 14 years of age. He's been training with Salzburg. Obviously he couldn't because you're not allowed to move overseas. He was only training and visiting Salzburg's camp, and he was still in a Hungarian academy as well. But he's been groomed almost for that gegenpressing system, that style. That's what Red Bull played. That's what he's perfect for. And in that sense, you can see he's got so much energy on the pitch. He presses a lot. Someone who has an incredible like striking technique. I think is possibly unmatched in Europe. I can't think of many players who can hit the ball from long range and can be so impactful from set pieces as he is. I mean, the only other that springs to mind is Trent Alexander-Arnold. And I mean, just the prospect of, I see him personally, Dominic, in the RCM role. So just the prospect of how Klopp is going to mesh those two together on that right side. I mean,
absolutely. So Liverpool have needed desperate reparation to their midfield. I've already brought in Alexis McAllister. Do you envision Szoboszlai and McAllister being good enough and the right profiles to play together?
Yeah, I think so. With the midfield three, I mean, it's kind of obvious. You know, Liverpool have looked at McAllister because he predominantly plays on the left side, and you know, we've been linked with a lot of other left-sided midfielders in this window, and I beat from the moment that we signed McAllister. I was like, this is strange. Like, why are we always going for left-sided midfielders? Like, if you look at Manu Kone, Kepa and Thuram, they all like to play on the left side. So I've been waiting for us to be linked credibly. I mean, Gabriel was another one that we were linked with a right-sided midfielder, and Szoboszlai, I think, fits that perfectly. Obviously, you know, if you can get Fabinho in his peak form behind him, I really see that as a sort of special midfield three, and I think that could work really well. McAllister, people like to think of him as an offensive midfielder, but I think Szoboszlai is more offensive. I think McAllister's statistics are also skewed by, you know, he scored, I think, 10 goals in the Premier League, but a lot of them were from penalties. So those statistics are skewed a little bit. I think he's more of a Gini Ronaldo, obviously a bit higher pedigree, having won the World Cup, but I see him as more that type of player, whereas I think Szoboszlai is one of those that we haven't had.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this all leads perfectly on to my next question. In the great Liverpool teams, I'm going to say of old, of 3 to 4 years ago, we had a very functional midfield of Fabinho, Wijnaldum and Henderson. Having a midfield, say, which is pretty much impossible to pick now, say if Szoboszlai comes in, to pick a first choice midfield, do you think there's going to be sort of a tactical tweak if they do bring him in?
I think you have to get the best out of, you know, him, Trent and Salah. Like, you have to figure out a way to incorporate all their strengths and stuff, because, like I said, he's a different type of midfielder to Henderson. He's not necessarily going to do the same stuff as Henderson. So I think it's going to be, obviously, it's going to take some time. That's why probably Liverpool want to wrap it up as quickly as possible, because you want them in for pre-season. You want Klopp to work his magic and stuff. And yeah, I think I don't necessarily see a formation tweak. I think it's going to stay 4-3-3, but I think in terms of like a bit of a tactical tweak, a bit of style tweak, like, you know, like Klopp did, bringing Trent into the middle, that could work nicely, and maybe Dominik sort of overlapping him and going a bit further out wide, because I mean, technically speaking, at Leipzig, he was used as a right winger, right midfielder. I mean, if you look at his heat map, he is more of a right-sided midfielder rather than a winger outright. And I think he's definitely better, you know, playing a bit deeper rather than, you know, a traditional winger in Jurgen Klopp's side. So I think I could see that happening a lot, sort of maybe Trent and Dominik interchanging positions, Trent going through the middle, Dominik's got the energy and stuff to cover him as well. I think that could work nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of his weaknesses, then obviously you're going to be biased to say there's absolutely none. But what would you say are the things that Dominik Szoboszlai needs to work on the most?
It's a tough question. The Red one asked me, and they kind of put me on the spot the other day. I couldn't think of anything. Still now, I can't really think of anything. I think, obviously, he's just going to have to get used to, I guess, playing in a different sort of role in Liverpool. And I guess I wouldn't necessarily say that's a weakness or it's something he needs to improve on, but he will need to adjust in some ways to Liverpool's midfield free system. I have my fears of how it could work, but I don't know how Klopp sees that. So I guess in terms of adjusting, that's going to be something that he'll need to figure out. But I would like to see him probably dribble a bit more. And I think, as strange as it sounds, because he scored quite a few goals in the Bundesliga last season, I would like to see him get in the box a little bit more, become more of a goal scoring midfielder, even more than he is now, because he's got an incredible technique and an incredible ability to score goals.
There is rumours as well that Newcastle United are interested and they can offer Champions League football, which Liverpool can't this season. Do you envision a world in which Newcastle can potentially attract Szoboszlai above Liverpool?
I think if both clubs trigger the release clause, I mean, this is theoretical, but if both clubs were to, then I think I don't see a world in which Szoboszlai would pick Newcastle. I think he's someone who's talked about, very much being career orientated, and he's looking at the long-term prospects in terms of his next move. So he's not just looking at, Newcastle are in the Champions League, Liverpool are in the Europa League. He's looking at the potential of how he can improve the people he can be around with, in terms of his teammates who he can learn from. And obviously the biggest factor is, the coach that he can work with. And there aren't greater coaches than Jurgen Klopp. And I think it was very telling that 3 years ago now, after the COVID pandemic, he sat down with Hungarian media and he was asked a few questions about Liverpool, because that season he just played against Liverpool, and he was asked what's the atmosphere like? What stadium did you enjoy playing in the most? And he said, I don't normally get nervous, but before the Anfield game, it was so electric. The stadium was like a cauldron. I got a little bit of anxiety almost, and he was very appreciative of the support. And then he spoke highly of Jurgen Klopp as well. Said he's one of the best managers in the world, and he'd love to work with him in the future. And he was asked, I think, outright, what kind of manager who could you see yourself working with? And he said Klopp straight away. So I think that's quite telling as well.
100%. And my final question to you, Ben, is on a time of recording, we don't know, but will it happen?
You can't answer that. I refuse to comment. I don't want to jinx anything. I mean, I'm just looking at my phone notifications, and I think the Times have reported that we're going to trigger the release clause. Someone just sent that to me as a text message. So, I mean, based on that, you got to be optimistic. I texted the Liverpool.com guys earlier this morning. I'm not working today. Normally I would be, but it's my day off. And I texted them that I'm keeping all my toes and fingers crossed. So, yeah, it's an exciting time. I think it's an exciting day. It looks like things are happening really fast. So I don't envy you, because, a lot of these things that we were talking about might already be inundated or not even relevant when this goes up. So you might have to do some editing. But yeah, it's certainly exciting. And I think maybe it's a good thing that I'm not working, because I don't think I could write articles today and just stop myself from scrolling through endlessly on Twitter trying to get updates. So yeah, I think we'll see what happens. I'm not going to give you an answer.
Well, Ben, it has been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. Enjoy your day off. All of Ben's links will be in the description, so you can go check out all of his articles for Liverpool.com, his Twitter. And any other things you want us to plug, mate?
I mean, the only thing is just check out Liverpool.com and, type in Szoboszlai in the search bar. I counted it up. In the last 2 years since I started working for Liverpool.com, I wrote about 30 articles on Szoboszlai and why he would be a good signing for Liverpool. So, I think I've kind of maxed out as much content as I can. Obviously, I'm going to be coming up with new content somehow. I'm going to have to get creative, clearly, because I don't know what else I can write about, but I'm sure I'll find a way to. to write about him more. And just check out Liverpool.com and you'll find lots of information there, stuff that I might have missed from this conversation, although I tried to be as informative as possible.
All right. Thank you very much to Ben, and we will catch you in the next one. See you later. Bye.